All right, everyone. So, like, seriously, who else out there feels like they're just constantly, on this like crazy treadmill of
Oh,
stress?
yeah.
Like, I swear, sometimes my brain feels like it's buzzing, even when, things are pretty chill.
Right.
And that kind of leads us to what we're going to deep dive into today.
Yeah.
We're going to figure out what the actual difference between stress and anxiety is.
Okay.
And for this one, we're using this really great infographic.
Mm.
It's from the National Institute of Mental Health.
Oh, cool.
And knowing our listeners, you guys are going to love how, like, simply and clearly they explain this stuff.
Yeah.
So the question is, are we just like, messing around with words here? Or is there like a legit difference between stress and anxiety?
It's just semantics.
And how do we even like tell which one we're dealing with?
Yeah. Great question.
We use those terms like all the time, like they're the same thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like stress, anxiety, they're interchangeable.
Yeah.
But you know what, though? They're actually like totally different.
Okay.
Yeah. And the infographic highlights this point that like stress is a direct response to something outside of you,
Oh, interesting.
like a trigger in your environment.
Mm-hmm.
So think about deadlines at work, right?
Oh, yes.
That massive to-do list that never ends, or even like positive things,
Oh, okay.
like planning a vacation.
Yeah.
These can all cause stress, but it's usually temporary.
It's true. Like that scramble before presentation, right?
Oh, yeah,
Totally stressful.
for sure.
But it also helps you focus.
That gets you going, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But on the other hand, we've got anxiety.
Okay.
And this is more like a constant hum in the background,
Oh, I see.
a feeling of dread that's not always tied to a specific thing.
Oh,
It's internal, and it just lingers even when there's no obvious reason for it.
okay, so let me see if I got this straight.
Yeah.
So if I'm like lying awake at night, worrying about missing my flight, next month,
Yeah.
even though I haven't even thought about packing yet,
Right.
that's more anxiety territory.
Totally. Yeah, that's a perfect example.
Okay.
It's that like free-floating unease rather than a direct response to a situation.
I get it.
Yeah.
But here's where things get a little fuzzy, right?
Mm-hmm.
The infographic lists a bunch of symptoms that are like the same for both stress and anxiety.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like
Okay.
headaches,
Yeah.
muscle tension, even sleep problems.
Wow. Yeah, so how do we know what's really going on then?
Exactly.
That's a good point. That overlap is exactly why understanding the root cause is so important.
Okay.
So let's say you've been getting headaches.
Mm-hmm.
Is it because of that big deadline coming up at work?
Right.
Or is it because you're worried about like losing your job even though you haven't like admitted that to yourself yet?
Oh, wow.
That's the difference we're trying to figure out here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say we figured out what we're dealing with.
Okay.
What do we actually do about it?
Right. Good question.
Like, what can we do?
Yeah.
The infographic has some pretty good coping strategies, and the cool thing is they apply to both stress and anxiety.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And they all start with being aware of what's happening.
Okay.
Like journaling, for example.
Oh, yeah, journaling.
That's a great way to process those thoughts and feelings swirling around in your head.
Yeah.
But don't just write down how you feel.
Okay.
Ask yourself why. What are you really scared of?
Right.
And what evidence is there to support those fears or maybe even contradict them?
I've tried journaling before, but I never thought to go that deep.
Interesting.
That's like a whole new level.
It can really change things, yeah.
Yeah, the infographic also mentions relaxation apps,
Mm-hmm.
which I'll admit I sometimes think are kind of fluffy,
I get it.
Oh,
But they can be really helpful.
really?
Yeah, they often use things like guided meditation and deep breathing exercises,
Okay.
and these train your body's relaxation response.
Interesting.
It's like hitting the reset button on your nervous system.
I like that, a reset button.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm willing to give it a try.
Awesome.
Then there's like the classic stuff. The things we all know we should be doing,
Right.
but life happens.
It gets in the way.
Like exercise and eating healthy.
Yeah, those are essential.
I know.
Even a short walk releases endorphins that make you feel better.
That's true.
And eating a balanced diet fuels your body to handle stress.
Okay.
It's like trying to drive a car with an empty tank. It's just not going to work well.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Speaking of running on empty, we can't forget about sleep.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Definitely guilty of staying up late,
Yeah.
but I always pay for it the next day.
Oh, yeah. It always catches up with you.
It does.
Sleep deprivation makes everything so much worse, both physically and mentally.
Yeah.
It ramps up those stress and anxiety signals, making it even tougher to cope.
Okay.
Aim for at least 7 or 8 hours of good sleep every night.
Okay.
It's not just about how much you sleep, but the quality of that sleep, too.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And while we're talking about things to avoid,
Okay.
the infographic mentions too much caffeine. I have a feeling I'm not the only one who relies on that afternoon coffee to keep going.
Oh, yeah. Caffeine kicks up your adrenaline,
Oh.
putting your body in fight or flight mode.
Yep.
If you're already prone to anxiety, that can really send your system into overdrive.
Gotcha.
It might be worth trying to cut back on caffeine a bit and see if it helps.
Maybe swap that second latte for some herbal tea.
Exactly.
Okay. And this next tip, I totally relate to challenging those negative thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
It's like those little voices in your head telling you you're not good enough
Right.
or that everything's going to go wrong.
We all have those.
Ugh, yeah,
And it's easy to get stuck in those thought patterns.
it is.
But once you start recognizing them, you can actually challenge them.
Okay.
Ask yourself, is this thought actually true?
Right.
What evidence do I have? What's a more realistic or maybe a more helpful way to look at this situation?
So it's about changing your perspective.
Exactly. Reframing how you see things.
And finally, something I think we all need to hear sometimes, reaching out to friends and family.
Oh, yeah. Such a good point.
Sometimes just talking about things can make a huge difference.
Huge. It really can.
Yeah, no.
Social support is so crucial. Talking to someone you trust, even if it's just to vent, can help you process your emotions and feel less alone.
Absolutely. And, you know, for those times when things feel super overwhelming,
Yeah.
the infographic really emphasizes that it's important to seek professional help.
100%.
Like, really important.
If those coping strategies aren't working or if your symptoms are impacting your everyday life, don't wait. Reach out.
Yeah.
Therapists and counselors, they're trained to help you deal with these challenges.
It's true. There's no shame in asking for help.
None at all.
Okay, so where do we go from here?
The biggest takeaway here is awareness. Pay attention to what's happening inside you.
Okay.
Are you feeling swamped by all the pressures from the outside?
Right.
Or is it a deeper sense of unease that just sticks around even when everything seems calm?
Yeah.
Once you figure out what you're dealing with, you can start trying out the coping strategies that work best for you or, seek out professional support if you need to.
I love that it's all about understanding yourself better.
Exactly.
And for more information, definitely check out the full infographic on the NIMH website.
It's a great resource.
It has even more details on stress, anxiety, and how to find help.
Perfect.
Until next time,
Yes.
stay curious. And remember,
Yes.
you're not alone in this.
You got this.
You got it.
We're all in this together.
We are.
All right.
See you next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.